Amin. Thank you very much. Without much ado, I would like to observe or acknowledge the presence of the Ambassador of the Gambia to the Republic of Turkey, His Excellency Mr. Serigne Modou Drammeh. You are most welcome,
Thank
sir.
you. Thank you very much,
I
Madam
would
Chair.
also like to acknowledge the presence of our dear President, the President of the Association, Mr. Mohamed Tarawale, and also our guest, our
Thank
special
you.
guest this evening, Mr. Modou Drammeh. Gentlemen, you are most welcome to the program. Since it is a 1 hour program, I will not take much of your time. I would like to start off by calling on the ambassador himself, His Excellency Mr. Serigne Modou Drammeh, to give us the opening remarks. Voice yours, sir.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Um, by way of protocol, let me begin by saying that addressing the President of AGAS, Mr. Mohamed Tarawale, esteemed members of the Association of Gambian Students in Turkey, all protocols respectfully and duly observed. I am Mr. Serigne. I am Ambassador Designate of the Republic of the Gambia to the Republic of Turkey. Designate for the reason that I have not yet presented my letters of credence. That is why I am Ambassador Designate. Until such a time I present my credentials, then I'll be a full-fledged ambassador. Thank you very much. It gives me a great pleasure, and I feel truly honored to be with you and to be accorded the opportunity to address you on the auspicious occasion marking the 56th independent anniversary of the Republic of the Gambia. On this special occasion, I have the great honor and immense pleasure on behalf of His Excellency, the President of the Republic of the Gambia, the government, and the people of the Republic of the Gambia, on behalf of the staff of my embassy, our families, and Gambian community in the Republic of Turkey, and on my own personal behalf, to extend to you and your families a heartfelt and warmest greetings on this special occasion. This year, unfortunately, we cannot be together. We are celebrating virtually and online. The virtual National Day celebration is placed under the signs of the raging COVID-19 pandemic. It is important to show solidarity also with the victims of COVID-19 and the most unfortunate among us. Coming back to the National Day, on the 18th February 1965, which is 56 years ago, the Union Jack was peacefully lowered and the Gambian flag raised. Gambia was one of the few African nations that had a peaceful change of government from its colonial masters. Despite some setbacks during its formative years, the Gambia is now one of the most peaceful countries in Africa. As Gambians, independence is the day that ushers our beloved country into the world community as a sovereign nation. Independence has numerous meanings and significance for us as a nation. It is not simply about self-rule and freedom from foreign domination, but mostly it is about how we can lead our actions. It's about freedom of thought and actions leading to our growth and development as a people and nation. As good citizens and students for that matter, you will agree with me that education is recognized as the cornerstone for sustainable development. It is a fulcrum around which the quick development of economic, political, sociological, and human resources of any country resolves. Therefore, it is imperative and permissible to say that for a meaningful, sustainable development for any country in this world begins with education. I therefore use this opportunity to urge you to build on these gains, use your expertise, knowledge, your academic qualifications, to endow resources to contribute also your quota to national development. All of you have toiled so hard to get the Turkish government scholarship award. And for some of you, your parents and family members provided the necessary financial support for your education. And of course, for some, the government of the Republic of the Gambia also undertook the responsibility to support your education. It is essential, therefore, to uphold your civic responsibilities as citizens. I will not do justice marking this auspicious occasion without talking a little bit about the Gambia-Turkey relations. On this special occasion of the Gambia's 56th independent anniversary, I would like to use this opportunity to discuss the Gambia-Turkey relations. The Gambia and Turkey set up relations since 1965. You can see that it is now 56 years ago. The Gambia and Turkey enjoys deep-rooted ties of friendship and fraternity, and relations between the two countries have been rapidly improving in all fields. While bilateral visits add a major impetus to the relations between the two countries, both countries also closely coordinate and they also cooperate on regional and international issues as well. It may be interesting also for you to note over the years, the two countries have signed bilateral agreements on a broad range of areas, including health and medical sciences, education, defense and security, in the fields of economic, scientific, and technical cooperation, in the area of culture, mass media, and youth and sports, in the field of agriculture and fisheries development and management, air transport cooperation agreements, information and communication technology, among others. To emphasize the importance of the relations between our two countries, His Excellency, the President of the Republic of the Gambia, Mr. Adam Barrow, conducted a state visit to Turkey in February 2018. The visit was an occasion for the Gambia to express profound gratitude and thanks to the Republic of Turkey for its numerous and sustained support rendered to the Republic of the Gambia's development initiative. On the other hand, also, His Excellency, the President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, also visited the Gambia on the 28th of January 2020, a historically important visit, as the visit was the first ever official presidential visit to the Gambia. So the Republic of Turkey also has continued to render valuable support to the government of the Gambia's development initiative, which among others include the provision of scholarship packages, annual offers of short-term training courses to develop the human resource base of the civil service and the security agencies of the Gambia. It may also be interesting for you to note that in 2012, Turkey became the donor facilitator for the Gambia within the integrated framework for least developing countries. Turkey also, through the Turkish International Cooperation and Development Agency, TICA, has also provided logistical support to the new National Assembly building. They have also trained Gambian doctors and nurses in Turkey, in addition also to offering training slots for short-term training to junior and also senior cadre of the foreign ministry, that is the diplomats. On the education front, as most of you are aware, the Republic of Turkey has been providing substantial number of scholarships to African students, through the Presidency for Talks Abroad and Related Community, that is YTB, you all know. Based on that, the Republic of the Gambia was also granted scholarship from the YTB scholarship scheme. On that basis, many Gambian students benefited enormously from the Turkish government scholarship award. In a nutshell, the Gambia-Turkey enjoy excellent relations. In conclusion, before I conclude, Mr. President, distinguished students, as we celebrate the 56th Independence Day, may I also request you to join me in a toast. I know we are far away from each other, but to the good health, peace, and prosperity of the peoples and governments of the Republic of the Gambia and the Republic of Turkey, to the everlasting friendship between our two great countries. God bless the Republic of the Gambia, God bless the Republic of Turkey, and God bless us all. Happy Independent Anniversary to you all. I thank you very much for your kind attention. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much, sir, for that impeccable speech. And Ms. India have always been supportive of this association. We thank you, sir, for your continuous support always. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. And going into the program further, our student guest this evening is a final year student at Ege University, studying international relations, a researcher, a poet, the youngest Gambian to actually publish a history book about the Gambia, a celebrated essayist who recently won the competition recently organized by our prestigious scholarship board, YTB, and undoubtedly one of our best students here in Turkey. Mr. Modou Drammeh, you are most welcome to the program.
With a sense of humility and great respect, I extend my warmest greetings to you all, in particular, the ambassador designated here. Thank you for having me, and thank you so much for that extremely generous introduction. I want to thank the entire August executive for your inspired leadership and for this initiative that will indeed serve as the recipe for today's academic benefit. I know you must have been all hungry academically and intellectually, but I hope today's program will quench your academic taste. It is my distinct pleasure to share this platform with you all. Today, we are all here gathered to take stock, to take a deep reflection of a country called the Gambia. Independence, indeed, is not a moment of celebration. It is a moment of deep reflection. It is a moment of stock taking, and it is a moment of meditation. And thank you very much for having me once again.
You're most welcome, Mr. Modou Drammeh. The theme this year, or the theme of the program this evening, is Gambia's independence, taking stock of the past. One would say after 56 years of independence, the Gambia, our country, our dear motherland, is still languishing in poverty. Majority of its citizens are living below the poverty line. Can you take us back to how the Gambia came into being and what actually went wrong?
Thank you for such a critical question indeed. To serve justice to your question, let us take a deep trip down memory lane in order to romance some historical facts, or at least cuddle some historical evidence in order to feel the warmth of history. Because history is a teacher and every event is a lesson. Gambia came into being as a result of an agreement. On the 10th of August, 1889, an agreement was sealed and dusted between the British Crown and the French Republic to demarcate a border with Senegal. A piece of land was to be decided. and they carved a portion of that land, which is now called the Gambia, and the remaining of that piece of land is what the French call Senegal. Consequently, external boundaries were drawn, which defined the territorial integrity of a colony at the time. After the internal resistance was dust and dusted in 1902, Gambia became a British colony in real context. Through the struggle, the pains and pans, the resistance indeed of bona fide sons and daughters of the land, Gambia attained independence on the 18th of February 1965. Gambia broke off from the chain of discriminations and colonialism, the chain of colonial segregations on that particular date, and moved forward of becoming a republic on the 24th of April 1970. There were sons and daughters who stood for this to happen. People worth mentioning indeed are Saudada Jawara, Persas Nyai, it was Francis Small. They all stood to see this change happen today. Now coming to what actually went wrong. If we want to understand our problem as a country, if you want to interrogate the social, political status or position of the country, we need to study our history. Without studying the history of the Gambia, we can never understand what actually went wrong. We often seem to be people with little interest as far as history, but we have to understand that life is not a linear process. There is sound coming from the background, please.
Yeah, sorry, Mustafa, can you please mute your mic? Thank you. You can go ahead.
Okay, if you study the history of the Gambia, you will discover that on the 24th of April, 1970, when Gambia became a republic, something fundamental should have happened. And what is that something fundamental? The citizens should also have evolved from being subjects of colonial masters to sovereign citizens of a republic. But this thing did not happen because our political leaders at the time did not teach us to understand the importance of being a sovereign citizen. A new Gambian should have been born, a Gambian who understood that our collective intelligence will lead to our collective destiny. A Gambian who ought to be principled and put national interest over individual interest. But this did not happen actually. Our political parties at the time were into a power struggle, trying to recognize themselves as leaders of a tiny country. What happened? People failed to understand one thing as far as Gambia is concerned. It is important to note, and let me repeat and emphasize, it is important to note that the Gambia did not become fully independent on the 18th of February 1965. And this is a missed record of history. Gambia attained the right to self-independence and determination on the 18th of February 1965. The right to self-independence and determination. Why? Because at the time of independence, the Queen was still, Gambia was still a constitutional monarchy. If you read the constitution of the colonial powers, that is the 1965 constitution, section 62 of the constitution states in an unequivocal voice that the Queen is still the head and executive power or executive authority resides in Her Majesty. And section 29 further reinforces this argument that the colonial governor will be the head and the representative of the Queen in the Gambia. So at the time, executive power was not in the hands of the ordinary Gambian people. Executive power or executive authority was in the hands of the Queen. Right. This is why Gambia was not truly an independent state at the time of independence, though we attained the right to self-independence and determination. Now, one thing we have to understand as far as the history of the Gambia is concerned, Another shortcoming we need to acknowledge is the failure to recognize that a country cannot be truly independent unless and until the mines are also liberated, unless and until the mines are also independent. Because the battle at the time was liberations of the mines. And still, this is a problem affecting most of our citizens. We are still under neocolonialism.
Well, talking of independence, Mr. Modou Drammeh, many will argue that we are a conscious state, we are a sovereign state. However, until today, we are yet to be independent in all aspects. You know, is it actually necessary? Do you think it's necessary, in your opinion, that we celebrate the independence?
Let's put context to your question, because context will define the content. What is independence? And what does it mean for a state to be independent? Are we celebrating independence or are we celebrating dependence? We have to interrogate that question. What are we celebrating? When I was growing up as a child, all what I thought independence to be was celebration. Dressing in my colorful uniform, attending independence celebration. But as I got older and intellectually sophisticated, I got to realize that the idea of celebrating independence is just a facade. What it means to be independent. When Gambia is still relying on foreign aid to supplement its national budget, Gambia is still reliant on foreign countries for food production, even our main diet is being imported into the country. There is no linkage between agricultural production and processing in our country.
Right.
You come to understand even our health fatalities is downgraded. Even our political leaders, when they get sick, they go to the former colonial countries for treatment. What an irony at all.
Right.
So what are we going to celebrate as far as independence is concerned? Independence should be a moment of stock taking. It should be a moment of deep reflection. How far have we come as a country? What needs to be done in order to overcome our problems? That is the question we should ask ourselves as far as independence is concerned. So I said, we are celebrating independence moving forward, or are we celebrating independence moving backward?
I put the question back to you. Are we going forward, or I'm still languishing in backwardness?
Okay, I don't see, like, though the Gambia, looking at the natural resources of our country, we have the land, we have the tropical climate, we have the sea and all that. But the Gambian is still hungry. The Gambian youth is still struggling to make ends meet. Despite all the resources we have at our disposal, things are not going in the right direction. During the first leadership of Saudaura Jawara, people in the rural area were still living in the Stone Age. They don't have access to education. Corruption was the order of the day. People believe in religion and ethno-linguistic facilitation. So what happened at the end of the day? Sectarian politics became the order of the day. Education was not, as the ambassador rightly mentioned, is the cornerstone of development, was not really at the forefront. So that is still affecting us. On the 2020, when the Jammeh administration came into being, they make us to understand that, well, we cannot change the government for over 30 years. Now, few of them could change it on that fateful morning. That was a dramatic turn of political events in the political landscape of the country. They changed it and the ignorance continued to exist. So Gambia, there are a lot of things that need to be done. The money we are using to celebrate independence, like, should be used to innovate our health facilities, our schools, and the like. So let independence be a moment of deep reflection.
All right, thank you very much, Modou Drammeh, for that precise and wonderful explanation of how the events transpired in our country. Once again, I'm sorry, the person with the iPhone, can you please mute your mic? Thank you. Modou Drammeh, once again, the Gambia is regarded as a democracy. In your opinion, do you think that is going to translate into development in the
Yes,
coming?
when you look at in international context or on the legal phase, when countries that are democratic really harvest what we call economic growth or economic development, it is true to a point, but that doesn't necessarily mean it will translate into development. For example, we have to put this thing into context. Democracy, the word democracy should be put into context as far as Gambia is concerned. Let's just interrogate what happened during Jammeh time. People were not free to talk. People were not free to do whatever they wanted to do. When Barrow came, when the new administration came, there were a lot of progress that has been made as far as democracy is concerned. But people are taking it for granted. What happened? Demonstration every now and then. Destructions of properties here and there. So democracy can lead to development indeed. Because democracy will facilitate institutional democratizations, will facilitate good policies, will facilitate sound policies. Indeed, it can translate into Gambia's development. But unless and until we understand the context of democracy. The context of democracy should not be Westernized, it should be put into local context. And one of the major ingredients of democracy is literacy. The minds should be literate. We have to understand that democracy goes with high education. All the Western countries that claim to be democratic, they are at the forefront as far as education is concerned. So when Gambia is democratic, what will we have is good institutions. What will we have is sound policies that will lead to sound economic policies, sound social policies, and the welfare of the citizens will be improved. So to an extent, yes, it can facilitate what we call development or prosperity.
All right, thank you very much, Modou. Right now you are kind of like, addressing a lot of young people. What are your aspirations or your expectations of the youth of the Gambia with regards to national development?
Okay, I will throw that question back to myself. What are my aspirations? What are my expectations as a young person growing up? Like you, like anyone else in this meeting. Because we are all here.
Can you please mute the mic?
Yeah, 1 minute.
Thank you.
Let's just interrogate ourselves here. What are our aspirations? What are our expectations? Can we please control the program?
Yeah, you can go ahead.
So let's just ask ourselves these questions. What are your expectations? What are your aspirations as a young person growing up? The same thing applies to me. The same thing applies to someone else. Like, we are all here going through the process of education, trying to intellectualize our mentality, trying to develop our human capital and human resources. At the end of the day, what do we expect? We expect to go back to serve our country. We expect the government to provide us with the platform, with the level playing field, so that we can utilize what we have learned in Western countries. Because human capital is very important as far as development is concerned. When you look at the Gambia, all the experts, all those people who have the expertise knowledge in their various areas, they are outside serving in international communities, serving other countries. Because of what? You go back to the country, as a young person, you have the talents, you have all what is needed to foster development. You are not given the opportunity. There are people at senior positions, let's just say the truth at once, that are at retirement age, they don't want to retire. There are people who see young people growing up as threat to their own development, while the young people have the energy, have the skill to foster development. So one of my expectations indeed is to have a government that will provide me with the opportunity to utilize my skills and expertise in order to serve my country. Because the moment I go back to the Gambia and I'm not given that opportunity, obviously, what will I think of? Migrating to somewhere else to serve those countries. I expect a government that will allow youth to participate in politics, that will provide us with the opportunities we need in order to foster our development. So as far as the government is concerned, like Gambia is a youthful population, and no country in this world can develop to your full potential without the inclusiveness of the youth. That is one thing we have to consider, Madam.
All right, do you think the youth will be given the opportunity to actually participate in national development in coming years in the Gambia?
Yes, as far as the current government is concerned, there are a lot of things have been done so far. Some will agree that, well, current administration have not done enough. Others will say, well, it has done, he has tried. This is about personal opinion. This is about how you see the government, right, or how Modou sees the government. As far as my analytical tool is concerned, there is a lot of things that need to be done, because I have seen people who are really good at their own fields. They are graduates now. They are back in the country, even without job. They will send their CVs. In a lot of countries, they will not even be called for interviews. You have people who are there to corner you down, not to give you the opportunity. And that is one thing with Gambia. Gambia is all about who you know. Gambia is all about connection. It's not all about what you possess. So I think for the government to develop or Gambia to move to another stage, the young people should be given the opportunity. Whether that will be done or not is another question of the day.
Yeah, you did mention about things that need to be done. Some of those things, can you please elaborate a little bit about those things?
Let me tell you something, like when Gambia became independent in 1965, Singapore became independent in December 1965. Now just compare Gambia and Singapore. Well, people will say, well, these are two things that cannot be compared. But how did Singapore rise through the difficulties to become a country of world recognition? Right. Why is Gambia still at this stage? One of the things that can foster development in the country is good institutions. When we talk about institutions, people think about buildings, people think about ministries. No, those are not institutions. When we talk about institutions, we don't actually mean buildings. We don't actually mean structures. When we talk about institutions, we mean the rules, the regulations that govern our conduct and behavior as public officers or as civil servants. That is what we call institutions. Institutions is not about buildings. It's not about how much story buildings we have out there. No. It's about the rules and the structures that govern us. So Gambia, we should have good institutions if we want to move forward. That is very, very, very important. And the development of human capital, establishment of vocational centers, training skills, where the young people can engage in skilled. We need skill. A country cannot develop without skills. That is so much important. When we talk about education, look at the Gambian education system right now. You see a person up to grade 12, like, will not even have what it takes. You think he has not even gone to school. Even writing good letters is a problem. The education is fashioned with our colonial curriculum, which is outdated. We don't update our curriculum. People, like Gambian education system, need to be strategized. When I say this, what do I really mean? Mm-hmm. What we only do at school is to read books to cram, and we get into exams, we have good grades and wealth. But some of the people who even present A's in all their transcripts or whatsoever, that doesn't reflect actually with the knowledge they have in their heads. We should move from that stage, a stage exams. We should include them if we want to move forward, because a nation cannot develop without sound educations, sound policies, and sound institutions, and the promotions of human capital.
Thank you very much, Modou Drammeh. You did mention that institutional change, attitudinal change, as well as infrastructural change will actually, lead to development in the Gambia. Thank you very much. Like, what are some of the things that you will add on to, the celebration tonight? Any other?
Yes, indeed. As young people, we have a role to play. Gambia is our country, and East West home is the best. No matter where we go, Gambia is always dear to our hearts. We want to see Gambia developed. We want to see Gambia prosper. And it is on the right chain as far as the new leadership is concerned. Though we cannot say like he has perfectly done so many things, but it is on the right track because life is a transition and also national development is a transition. We cannot expect the new administration to come and like transform Gambia overnight. There are right steps in the right directions, but there are a lot of things that need to be done. Who are the people in power? Who are the people behind like the protocols of the presidents? Who are the people advising the presidents? What is their like intellectual inclinations? Are they people who can advise the president in the right directions? Who are the people occupying the senior government positions? Who are the people occupying the ministerial positions? Who are the people, who are the technocrats? Do they have what it takes to move Gambia forward? Or are they just there because of their connections? Or are they just there because they have what it takes to move the country forward? Gambia, even like, look at the corruption. There are a lot of things we should do to fight the corruption. Like when you read one of the papers that was written by Malang, a PhD student in Ege University, advocating for what the e-government that could be used in order to curb corruption, in order to minimize the level of corruption in the country. Now, corruption has become so rampant in the country. People do whatever they want to do. There is no policies, there is no institution, nothing at all. So we need to put all hands on deck as well as young people to take our education seriously, to improve on ourselves and go back to the country and develop our own country. Gambia is for us. We cannot leave it in the hands of the people who are not well qualified to manage our own affairs. And people have to understand one thing. The government is a servant of the people. The government is a public trustee of the people. No executive or no government is fit to occupy that position unless and until it serves your own interest, unless and until it serves your own welfare and prosperity. Any government which is there and is not there to serve your interest, that government is not fit to occupy the state house. In a nutshell, that will be the takeaway I will give you.
Yeah, you did mention the likes of Mr. Malang Bojang, who is currently in Kujaili. You are as well one of our best students here in Turkey. We also have the likes of Mohammed Tarawale. What is your advice to students who are currently studying here in Turkey, who aspire to actually go back home and give back to the country? What is your advice to them?
To study in Turkey, it's like squeezing a blood out of a stone. Why do I say squeezing a blood out of a stone? You know, to squeeze the blood out of a stone is very difficult. The education system is really indeed difficult, especially when you are an undergraduate student. Especially when you study in Turkey, we understand that there are a lot of challenges, but I believe we can do it as Gambians. Gambians, they are smart, Gambians are brilliant. We can overcome the challenges. We have to take our education seriously. It's not like I cannot do it. If others can do it, indeed you can do it. It's just a matter of taking our education seriously. We all face challenges. Some people will come during their atomic days, will be crying. We all face a lot of difficulties. Some people will even go to the extent of wanting to go back home. But at the end of the day, with hard work and determination, we can achieve anything. It's just a matter of, we have to understand that we are here for a mission. When you are sent for a mission, at least I hope you want to accomplish that mission. We are all here for missions, for a mission. Let's just understand that we are in Turkey for a mission. We are not here for any other purpose but for education. And that should be our #1 priority. Let's take our education seriously, work hard and have good grades. But let us not only concentrate on the grades, let us also concentrate on developing ourselves. Because you can have good grades while your head is empty. That is not actually what is expected of someone who is educated. This is why there is a difference between going to school and being educated. Like, you can go to school, you can have good grades, you have been to school indeed, but are you educated? Education is a process of self-actualization. You have to read, you have to develop yourself, you have to go beyond the four corners of the classroom. That is what we call someone is educated. You can't go to school while you are not educated. People have to understand that difference. So let's take our education seriously, work hard, and go back to our own homelands and develop our country, if the opportunities are provided for us.
Thank you very much, Modou Drammeh. It was a wonderful opportunity to have this one-on-one with you. Thank you very much for your time. Now I would like to call on the August President, Mr. Mohamed Taraole, if you have anything to say before we conclude the program. Mohamed, are you there?
Actually, I don't have anything to say. Yeah, I'm here. I just have to thank everyone for their participation, and especially our Honorable Ambassador, Mr. Modou Drammeh, and our guest speaker, Pamodo, and everyone. That's all what I have to say, and thank you all.
Well, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to almost the end of the program. It's actually a 1-hour program, but there is still time, Pamodo.
There's still time.
Maybe like if students have, if members have questions to
if you have any questions to ask Mr. Drammeh, you are most welcome to ask before the time ends. Okay, it seems we don't have any questions, Mr. Modou Drammeh.
Actually, I have one question.
Okay, Ablaye Cisse, you are most welcome.
Yeah. Okay, this question goes to Pamodo. We see that like normally in the Gambia, before people are taken to office, most of them are very good. But after a certain period of time, let's say a year or two, they become changed. Is it corrupted, should I call it? So what do you think is the cause to that? Is it because of that's who we are internally? Or is it the society that changes us, or is it something else? And how can we try to prevent those kind of things?
If I understand you well, you mean before we get employed in various departments, we are normally good. When you say good, in which context? Can you put good into context? Do you mean good academically or morally, or good in personality? What do you mean by good?
Academically and corruption-free, especially the corruption-free. But after assuming office for a certain period of time, people become very corrupted.
Yes, this is simple. The answer to this question is simple because there is no institutions, quite good institution and sound policies that will guide the conduct of our public officers. Gambia, like even during official work, you see them on their Facebook pages, like there is no control mechanisms to control our civil servants or public officers. They do whatever they want to do, and heck will not come out of it. So it just goes back to what I said: good sound policies and institutions. When I say institutions, things that will guide how our public servants conduct themselves while they are serving the nation.
Please want to ask question.
Okay, we have Mr. Kamara Oswald. Right, Pamela, you are on the platform.
Okay, thank you very much, everyone. The question I want to ask firstly, to thank the Honorable Deputy or Ambassador with us, also the August President and everyone in this group. I want to ask a question like Mr. Pamodo. Hence, since we are in our Gambia, using the English language officially, is it related to our independence or not? That's what I want to ask. Is it advantage for us to use the English language in our education system, our official system? Is this called independent for a country? Thanks. This is my question.
Thank you very much.
Your question has two tails. The first tail, like the English language is a legacy, it's a byproduct of colonialism. For example, when you look at Senegal, they are using French because they were colonized by the French. You look at Gambia, for instance, we are using English because we are colonized by the British. So this is a byproduct of colonialism. It is one of the things they left there. That is why one of the time in 2013, when Jammeh left the Commonwealth, one of the remarks he made was he was going to change the official language into one of the local languages. But now, how is that possible in our Gambian context? Which language are we going to use? Are we going to use Mandinka or Wolof? Which one are we going to recognize? That is the question we have to ask ourselves. Do we have a standardized language in our school system? Are we taught Wolof in a written form or spoken form? Example, when you are texting in Wolof, people write differently. Different words are spelled in different ways. Even in Mandinka, the same thing applies to other languages. So English language is a byproduct of colonialism. And is it beneficial to us? This is the language that we are using, and this is the main language in the international community. For example, if we don't expect to go into the UN like General Assembly or to go into international organization and speak our local languages. But our local languages should be prioritized. Our local languages should be recognized indeed. We should at least, the children should be taught our local languages in school because that is what we have. It is indeed important for our local language to be taught in school in a standardized manner. But adopting a particular local language as an official language will be something that can bring something that we don't anticipate.
All right, thank you very much, Modou. We also have Mohammed Dimalan. Dimalan, you're welcome to the platform. You can ask your question. Mustafa Dimalan. Okay, it seems that we lost Mustafa Dimalan.
Yeah, sorry. I'm here. You getting me?
Right.
Are you getting me?
Right, yeah.
Okay. For me, like, first of all, good afternoon to each and every one of you, and thank you so much, Pa Modou, for that wonderful presentation. There is one thing that you made mention of, which I am a victim of, or I went through it, which I just want to share a bit, which will not be long. Like, for instance, like the young ones are not given the opportunity. Like, after finishing our studies, going back to the Gambia, like, things become hell for us. Like, it should be something that, like, we should all be proud of, to go back to our country and serve. But like, it is something that is discouraging many young ones. For instance, when I finished my BSc degree from Taiwan, I went back to the Gambia. It was so hard for me. Like, I sat for months, like, going up and down ministry, like, they are telling you, write this, write that, submit this, submit that. Up to an extent, you become frustrated. And we all know studying abroad is not easy. Like, it is coupled with a lot of challenges. You have adaptation. You have, like, thinking of your country, your family, or lot of things, financial issues. So all those things, like, you face it in your studies abroad. Then going back home, it becomes another thing. So I think it is something also like that need to be addressed, and also those people like responsible in the government, like, should really consider those who are studying outside, going back home, at least to want to develop or want to serve their nation. It is something which is really discouraging many young ones going back home. In the other instance, like you saying, like, thank you so much. Let me not take it.
Yeah, we get questions. Yeah, we are running out of time. Pamela, can you quickly answer that question?
No, he was making a comment, I think.
Yeah, I think that's
making a comment.
We have several people on the line. We have okay. Mala, yes, you're on the line. After that, we can have Fatin finally. You are most welcome, Marlon.
Okay, good evening to you all, actually. This is one great job, proud of you. Actually, I think you talked about so many things today, actually, especially with regards to institutional changes that the Gambia needs to undergo if they want to reach that development goal that they always yearn for. You talk about corruption here today. You also talked about, I think, the basic thing that we need if we want to develop, actually, we need what we call institutional reform. And these institutional reforms cannot be done in isolation without the civil service reform. Like, I think, my brother and my friend Ablai Sise talked about something with regards to, people getting into the system. They are good, morally, academically, but once they are in the system, they become corrupted, one can say. Gambia, I think it has something to do with our mindset. So unless we change our mindset, unless we have that love for our country, you know, development, you know, socio-economic development, you know, is going to be an illusion. So these are some of the issues. I just want to raise a comment because I've seen so many people raising their hands, so I'll not take too much of your time. This is just a comment. And great job, Fatima.
Thank you very much, Malam. Malam is a very good brother, all the way from Kojali. All right, now we can have Fatim Jai. The floor is yours.
Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, I would like to say thank you to our guest speakers. You guys are doing a wonderful job. And also I'd like to thank our beautiful host. I wanted to ask Pamodu, what do you think are ways that we can improve on our patriotism and also that to be passed on to the future generation? Because I've noticed that I think patriotism has to be something very important that every citizen must have in order for us to show more love to our country. That also becomes a motivation for us. But unfortunately, in our country, I don't see a lot of that. So what are ways that you think can improve us loving our country more and that to be passed on to our future generation?
Thank you very much.
Thank you for that critical question, because it is critical indeed. Let's just take Turkey for instance. When you see the Turkish people, when they have their national programs, or when you see how patriotic they are, you tend to wonder, when you happen to compare with Gambian context, you wonder, why are Gambians not patriotic? Why are not Gambians not like this? Turkish, when it comes to their national teams, whatever, as far as Turkey is concerned, they will do it with their heart. As far as Turkey is concerned, they will do everything humanly possible for the sake of this country. Gambians, like, we are selfish. Let's just call it. Gambians, we are hypocritical in nature, we are selfish. Like, we always look at our own pockets, what serve our individual interests, not what serve the interests of the country. And as far as the collective interest doesn't override our individual interests, Gambia is not going anywhere. We have to be like patriotic. What am I doing? Is it for the greater good? Is it for the greater benefit? Or is it going to serve me alone? For instance, like, you see people, even like others, like, will leave their positions when they have international appointments. And even when we are in a critical situation, they will leave and go because of what they are interested in, the money or in the salary they will get. So I think what we should do is, like, understanding that we have to understand Gambia is ours, a sense of belongingness. We cannot be patriotic unless and until we inculcate the spirit of belongingness. We have to understand that Gambia belongs to us, and if Gambia rises, it's for the collective good. And we should not be selfish. But as fast as we are always looking at what we're going to get at the end of the day, like, patriotism will be something of the past.
All right, thank you very much. We will take one more person before we log off. We have.
Is it possible to lengthen the program a little bit, because it seems to be getting more interesting? Is that possible?
Yeah, that we would like to. We would actually love to extend, but our speaker has other engagements as well. So.
And also we're using an institution's official Zoom account. So we are giving like maximum 1 hour.
We can extend the program. But we'll take one more person. We have
you wanted to ask another question. Can you go ahead?
Yeah, I have one question, please.
Okay. Yes. Yeah, go ahead, sir.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Pamodu. Thank you for this insightful, knowledge. Actually, let me also thank Dr. Malang also for joining us today. My question is around the issue of the National Development Plan of the government of the Gambia. The Gambia government came up with a blueprint called the NDP 2018 to 2021. There are about 8 strategic priorities for government, and strategic 4 talks about investing in our people through the improved education and health services and building a caring society. Now, I would like Pamodu to explain further, how do we complement government's effort in attaining this very important priority sector? how do you urge the student also to complement government? Because we have now got so many people who have been trained. They are very academically, qualified. They are very landed people. So how do we complement government in attaining this, party objective?
Thank you very much, sir, for that question. Let me just make a quick disclaimer in the first place. Gambians, when we write papers, we can present the best papers. We can write more than Shakespeare's or even Williams Dixon's when we write papers. We can present very good papers, even at the international community. But the problem as far as Gambia is concerned is implementation. That is our problem. Our problem is not about putting things into black and white. Our problem is implementations. And that is something very concerning. So in order to complement government efforts, people who are with the expertise knowledge should go and help, provided they are given the opportunity. For example, I have mentioned earlier that Mr. Malang Bojang make wonderful presentations. He'll be called in other international platforms to give presentations on e-government, on something of that nature. If he is called, we have people who have the knowledge, the government should reach out to Gambians with the expertise, with the intellectual inclinations, with the intellectual advancements to help in the implementations of those projects. Because if you want to implement those projects towards national development, you give it to people who don't have the idea, who don't even know where to start. Actually, the problem will be just a white elephant. The project will fail. But if you give it to people who have the understanding, who have the experience, who have the expertise to develop those projects or to materialize those projects, indeed it will come to materializations. So people who are outside, as I mentioned, Malang, for example, when we make mention of the e-government, this is a system, for instance, that can curb corruption. If the government happens to utilize this system, corruption can really be a thing of the past. So I think in order to complement government efforts, we the citizens should also try to be involved. We should be inclusive. The government, the government is a representative and is there to serve our interests and our affairs at the high table. But we should have a government which is inclusive, a government which includes everybody, a government which is there to reach out to people who have the knowledge to help. So I think it is all about reaching out to people who have the expertise, who have the knowledge. At the end of the day, these projects are given to people who doesn't even know anything about them. All what they are interested in the money that the project comes with. And that's really because there is no system that controls such projects. So I think, sir, in a nutshell, we should reach out to people who have the expertise knowledge, and those people should also be ready to serve their own governments and know that at the end of the day, it is for the greater good.
Thank you very much, Mr. Modou Drammeh. We would like to thank all of you for taking time in joining us this evening as we celebrate the 56th anniversary of our dear motherland, our dear country, the Gambia. Like our previous speakers have said, have mentioned, let us continue to love each other and support each other as students, but most importantly, be loyal and love our country. We would like to thank Mr. Ambassador, Mr. Siring Modou Drammeh, for always being there for the students, and as well Mr. Mohammed Tarawale for going all out for the association. We thank you. Mr. Modou Drammeh, we will also like to thank you for that educative and very entertaining session. And thank you all for your wonderful time. It was a pleasure to be your host, and good evening to you all.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. My pleasure. Thank you. Thank you, Modou. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Dr. Malang, how are you, sir?
I'm fine.
Thank you.
Mr. Ambassador, how are you?
Good to have you. Thank you very much.
Welcome. We appreciate and thank you for your service.
From Ankara, we say thank you very much again and happy independent anniversary to all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Greetings to family.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Okay, we're ending it.